Today I did a hike up and around Mount Tsukuba, which is often regarded as the counterpart of Mount Fuji in the east. So we have Mount Fuji in the west and then Mount Tsukuba in the east. Mount Tsukuba is located really close to Tokyo in Ibaraki Prefecture, and it is one of the main attractions of Ibaraki Prefecture. In fact, it's one of the very few attractions of Ibaraki. The prefecture is really known in Japan as being the most boring prefecture. So yeah, that's not a title that you want to have. But yeah, Mount Tsukuba is a really nice mountain. It is kind of very open, so around the mountain it's just plain. That's why it's also kind of regarded as the counterpart to Mount Fuji, because it's very plain. So once you reach the top, you have really 360 degrees views all around because there's nothing else blocking it. And as always, I'm going to give you some tips if you want to do the hike yourself, on how to get there, some things to take care of, and just some general information about the hike. Access to Mount Tsukuba from Tokyo is very convenient with the Tsukuba Express, which is a train line that runs all the way to Tsukuba Station. From Tokyo you can take the train from multiple locations, the most famous ones being Akihabara and Kitasenju, which is nicely located on the metro network. Once you reach Tsukuba Station, you then have to go to bus stop number 1, and from there you have a bus that runs directly to Tsukuba Shrine Station, from where the hike starts. The bus takes around 35 minutes to 40 minutes and it runs once every hour. From Tsukuba Shrine Station, it's around 10 to 15 minutes walking to the beginning of the trail, which is right next to the cable car station. So instead of walking up, you can also take a cable car, which takes around 8 minutes, I believe, to reach the top. And on the top there is also a cable car that connects kind of two different parts of the hike. So you can also take the cable car on the top instead of doing like a longer hike there. There is an all-inclusive pass available that includes a round-way trip on the train from the station that you started, a round-way trip on the bus, and also cable car and a ropeway thingy on top. Now the pass, it depends on which station you leave from, but it costs around 4,000 to 4,500 yen, so around $40 US. Now the pass is not worth it if you decide to do all hiking. So what you will have to certainly take is the train to get to Tsukuba Station, and then the bus, because you can't really walk from Tsukuba Station to Mount Tsukuba. It will take you 2 or 3 hours and it's just on a paved road. So yeah, those two transportations you will definitely have to take. But if you do not take the cable car or the other thingy on the top, then the pass is not worth it, because it's cheaper if you just do the train and the bus. Now, out of the hikes that I did in the last few weeks, this one was certainly the most kind of busy one. It had a lot of people hiking up and also going down, so there was always some kind of traffic there. I believe it may be because people are kind of getting over Corona and they're starting to get out, but even then it was kind of a Wednesday, so the amount of people still kind of surprised me. It wasn't really that heavy. It wasn't like a heavy traffic mountain like, I don't know, Himalaya or Mount Fuji at sometimes. It was definitely much more traffic than the other times. Now the hike itself starts kind of at Tsukuba Shrine, from where you pass along the big gate, you go through to the top, and then at the cable car station you turn right into the forest road, and then the hike starts there. It's around 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours to reach the top. The hike to the top doesn't really have that many kind of attractions on the way. There is a fountain on the way, which was kind of cool, so you can get some fresh water there. But other than that, it's mostly just hiking through forest. Once you reach the top, which is also where the cable car terminates, there you will find some souvenir stores, some snacks stores, some restaurants actually. So this is a very developed mountain. It's not like in the middle of nature. You also have a lot of people who do not actually do hiking. They just take the cable car up, enjoy the nice views from top, and then maybe go to a restaurant and then go down again. So it's kind of a mix, and it also, that part is also kind of busier than the rest of the hike, because you also have people who do not do hiking. Now Mount Tsukuba consists of two kind of main peaks. The male peak, which is around 880 meters high, and then the female peak, which is just a little bit below that, 870 meters or so. Both are around 10 to 15 minutes away from this kind of central section where you have all of the restaurants and everything. I first went to the male peak. Now the male peak, it isn't really that interesting. It has a shrine on top, so does the female peak. You can buy like an omamori, like a charm and everything. And you have some views. They are pretty obstructed, however, on this. So you can sometimes see all the way up to Skytree or even Mount Fuji from up there, if the weather permits it. Again, summer is very hazy, so you probably won't be able to see it, but like in winter or colder months, then you should be able to see that. But yeah, there's nothing much more on the male peak. And then from there on, there is kind of a circular nature path that kind of circles once around the mountain and then returns again to the spot that we started at with all the restaurants. And it definitely saw less foot traffic than the other parts of the hike. There is kind of one observatory which is cool, where you have more or less open views. That's also where I flew my drone from. That was pretty cool. But other than that, it's just a hike path through the nature. They have kind of these signs where you can see what the local animals are, local plants and everything, which is kind of informative, but it's all in Japanese, so if you can't read Japanese you won't get much out of it. And yeah, the circular hike takes around 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour, and then you are again at the spot where you started. Now the female peak, that one is much nicer because you have much more open views. You can see all the way to Tokyo on the right hand side, you can see the rest of Ibaraki Prefecture, you can see a lake, I forgot the name, I'll put it down below, but it's the second biggest lake in Japan, so you can have some really nice views up there. And again, there is also a shrine, which is also nicer. The shrine itself is also nicer. Now from the shrine you have the option of either taking the cable car all the way over to the other part of the mountain. I didn't actually go all the way up there, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. Instead what I did was, there is a kind of a 1 hour hike that you can take. It starts very steep, so it's just a lot of rock climbing down for maybe 10 to 20 minutes. After that it kind of flattens out and it has these kind of power spots or stone power spots along the way, which are, I don't know in what religion or whatever, but these are kind of these power sports where you get certain power for monetary fortune, I don't know, love fortune, stuff like that. After around 40 minutes or so you will reach another fork. If you go to the left you will go towards the cable car station, which is going to take you another 40 minutes or so. What I did, I went to the right, which kind of looped me back after another hour or so hiking down to the shrine. The hike down itself wasn't really that interesting, it was just a hike through the forest. And yeah, that was it basically. Now there are a lot of options for food and drinks at the top. However, what I would note is that there are no options at kind of Tsukuba Shrine station. So what I didn't bring any breakfast because I thought that once the bus stops that there might be something where I could buy something to eat, but as it turns out there wasn't. So if you want to buy something like last minute, some food, then I would buy it at Tsukuba station where the train terminates. There are some community there, it's like a big city. So instead of just going all the way on the bus first, because you're not going to find any food there. On the top there are restaurants, you can buy some normal Japanese food, udon, soba, kare. It's probably going to be between like 500 to maybe 800 yen, so $5 to $8, which is pretty reasonable I would say. Drinks are slightly more expensive than normally. They do have vending machines, but all of the vending machines are kind of priced or price matched to the restaurant. So every drink is 200 yen, even water, which is kind of expensive. Normally it's half of that. So yeah, but you can buy some drinks on top if you don't want to like lug around a lot of water. There's definitely options to buy something to drink and also something to eat up there. What I did this time, I brought some food with me. This time I wanted to go a little bit more healthy, because last time I had like a processed sandwich and some processed cheese, a lot of like processed food. So this time I went a little bit more healthy. I brought a can of tuna, some bread, vegetables, again processed meat and processed cheese because I really like those, as well as some nuts. And yeah, just wanted to go a little bit more healthy. The hike itself is fairly easy, so you don't need any kind of special gear. You can do it in any kind of sneakers, any trainers, nothing to really be careful about. And again, a lot of the hike itself is covered in trees because it's a forest hike. The only parts where you're kind of exposed to the sun are when you're at the top. They have like an observatory where you have great views and so yeah, I got slightly sunburned, but if you get easily sunburned you should maybe bring some sunscreen, but otherwise I wouldn't bother. According to signage, there are some snakes in the area, mambushi, and there's another, I forgot what the name was, I put it down below. But there's those two venomous snake types that exist on the main island of Japan, can be apparently found in the forest area, which kind of makes sense because, you know, it's a forest area. Apparently someone saw one and yelled out, but I didn't see it. So yeah, that was that. You have Japanese giant hornets as always. There was one kind of buzzing on top of the female peak, but that was all. There's nothing really much else that's dangerous along the hike. There's no bears because it's just a single mountain and there's no kind of forest surrounding it. I guess just if you do like the sections where it goes down very steep, try not to slip. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, there's not much to take care of in terms of hiking. There is something to take care of that has to do with the transportation. Now, as I mentioned, if you wanted to walk all the way from Tsukuba Station to Tsukuba Sun Shrine Station, where the hike starts, that would take you maybe 3 hours or so. It is a very, very long hike, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. Now, the problem with that is that the first bus starts at 8 a.m. So you would reach the start of the hike at around 8:40, maybe 9, which is kind of late for a lot of people. They want to start hiking early normally, but yeah, that's as early as you can get. And even worse than that is the way back. the last bus leaves at 5:10 p.m. So you have to be down at 5:10 p.m., which means sunset in a lot of cases is going to be impossible, especially if you decide to hike down and not just take the cable car. I believe it might be that the times are right now like this short just because of the Corona crisis. It might be that I remember in Google, when I searched it on Google Maps, it said that there is a bus that leaves at 7 p.m. However, right now it doesn't run, so it might be that there is a bus at 7 p.m. in non-Corona times. But yeah, that's gonna be definitely the last bus. Otherwise, there's one bus every hour until 5 p.m. So definitely make sure that you make the last bus. If you don't, well, then you're gonna be stuck there. There are some hotels, so you can sleep there. You can take a taxi back to Tsukuba station, but that would be really expensive. Or you can walk, but yeah, that's gonna be a 2 or 3 hour walk. So just make sure that you make the last bus. Now, the highlights for me on this hike were certainly the views that I got from the female mountain peak, all of the surrounding areas. That was really nice because, as I said, the mountain is just a single mountain, so you have really wide open views out on the rice fields, and it's still pretty high up. So yeah, the views definitely superb. The rest of the hike, it was okay, you know, it wasn't horrible. I was still out in nature. I heard forest sounds, that was nice. But then again, same with the forest sounds, you kind of have the cable car that's running right next to the hike. So you constantly, well, not constantly, but oftentimes are gonna be hearing like the cables running and everything and the cable car passing, which is pretty loud. That was it, I guess, for the hike. Views from the top are certainly the most kind of appealing part of it. But yeah, I think if you do the hike in like colder months, when you can see even further, that might be even better because you can see all the way to Mount Fuji and Skytree and Tokyo and everything, which is pretty unique to seeing Tokyo that far up, seeing Tokyo from that far. So yeah, I would recommend doing it maybe not in summer, maybe in like colder months. I think that's all the information I can give you on Tsukuba. If you have any other questions about the hike itself, or about the mountain, or about anything else, or any other related hike in Japan, then ask them down in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Now next week there might not be a hiking video because the only day that I could go hiking would be on Monday, because it's my birthday on Wednesday and Julie and I were going away on a trip. I don't know where to. Julie kind of organized it. So yeah, instead there might be a travel video to wherever we are going, and then maybe a hiking video the week after that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one. See ya.